Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to show you how I propagate my pothos plants. If you want to see how I do that and why I do that, then please keep on watching.
Get away with it, 'cause you make me love my imperfections, answer all my questions, just to show me what's on the other side of inhibition. No apologies, my baby. How do you do? 'Cause I'm feeling so good.
Alright, so you saw me trim my pothos plants. I actually trimmed all of them except for one. And I know that's probably a bit painful to watch for a few people, but for me, I really prefer trimming them down every 2 months, I guess. 6 to 8 weeks. It depends on how long and leggy they get. So I actually got quite a lot of cuttings here. So I'm going to show you 3 different ways of propagating them. The first one is a very simple one. Alright, so let's start with something like this. So this, as you can see, it has 3 leaves, but this one is relatively young. It's a new leaf and another leaf is about to sprout. So what I'm going to do with this is that it has a few nodes as well. So I'm going to take my pruners here, and then for this, usually I would trim this down, but as you can see, there are tiny nodes there, so I'm not going to trim that down anymore. I'm just going to cut that here above the node. Okay. And then for this, I'm going to get rid of this part here that's basically useless. That's that. And then I'm going to cut again here. Alright. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put both of these in a clear jar. So this is what I use to propagate my cuttings. It is an Old Spice jar. I have a lot of these. So yeah. So this is the most common way to propagate your pothos plants or any vining plant that has aerial roots. As for this part, it does have a node. However, I'm not so sure if it's going to make it since these are both young, but we can try anyways. So I'm just going to cut this down a bit more, and I'm going to make sure that you leave a node, and then I'm going to prop this on along with these two as well. Okay, I'm going to do the same method for these. Get rid of this part, we don't need this. This one is a bit older, so it has bigger aerial roots. The ones with aerial roots have the most chance of surviving anyways. When I first got my mother plant, my pothos mother plant, it was already very long, but the leaves were quite small. My mother plant's leaves were probably as big as this one, and then now the newer growth has bigger leaves. Why? Because I cut them down. So that's another reason why I prefer to cut down my pothos plants and to trim them down, because the leggier the plant gets, the smaller the leaf grows, because it needs more energy to provide for the whole. Does that even make sense? Paano ko ba explain? Hold on. Okay, So this, again, we're not sure about this, but it has a lot of nodes, so we are going to try. For this one, I'm going to put that here. A bottle. And it looks really cute on there as well. So notice how big some leaves are compared to others. And that is because of pruning them as well. I prefer cutting down my pothos because it makes them healthier. Because the longer your plant is, the more energy it needs to produce to survive, if that makes any sense. And once you trim it down, you'll really notice that in a few weeks time it's going to grow a lot of bigger leaves. It's going to be lusher, it's going to be a lot healthier, so that's why. Plus, cutting down your pothos plants give you a lot of baby plants. Now this is definitely up to your it depends on your preference already, but you can just leave this in water as long as you change it out every week or twice a week if you're up on your game. You can just leave them in water. That's what's amazing about these plants. They'll survive in just water. Once they start growing roots, you can definitely transfer them to soil. Right. So next, if you want to start with viney plants already, that's okay as well. For example, this cutting right here. Okay. So this is quite viney. This is quite viney already. You can start propagating this as well. However, it's easier to propagate them leaf per leaf. But you can do a whole vine as well, and this is how you do it. So again, get rid of this part that we don't really need, because if we submerge this in water, it's just going to rot anyway. So now we are left with this vine, and this is the end. This is the tip, so there's a new leaf here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of a few leaves, and sad to say we no longer need these leaves, so we're just going to get rid of them. I'm going to get rid of probably three leaves, so I'm left with 3 nodes as well, 1, 2, and 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bottle. This is a Coca-Cola bottle, and I'm going to just submerge that. And these types of vessels work perfectly for these types of cuttings. See? Just like that. If you want, you can get rid of this too, but I don't think that's necessary. So that's it for water propagation. So you can do it this way with leggier or vinier cuttings, and you can do it like this as well with individual leaf cuttings. So you'll probably see roots grow within a week depending on where you place them. I like putting my cuttings outside, but they are going to survive inside as well with minimal light. Once your roots have grown 2 to 3 inches, you can already transfer that to soil. Alright, so next we are going to do some soil propagation, and for this I am using a mixture of garden soil, vermicast, coconut dust, pumice, and something rice. I forgot what the other one is, but I'll just put it here somewhere. But this is a mixture of 5 things. And for this, I'm actually going to use some bobby pins. So this is called the hairpinning method or the pinning method. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a bobby pin and you're going to stretch it out a bit. You can take out your bobby pins after so you can reuse them. Alright. So what I'm going to do is I have my pot here, and then I have this whole vine here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to again cut off this part.
How do people do this? They probably have tables.
Okay, so my soil is here. I'm going to take this vine and I'm going to start wrapping it. So you see where the nodes are, right? There are leaves on this side, there are nodes on this side. So make sure that the nodes are facing down. And then I'm going to take my first bobby pin and I'm going to pin that in place. Just to make sure that it's well reinforced and the vine doesn't go anywhere before its roots are put in here. Then I'm just going to wrap this vine until we cover the whole pot.
What's on the other side of inhibition? Ooh, I got enough of every melody. They all sound the same. Yeah. For my broken heart, no remedy. But maybe if you stay, we can get away with it. 'Cause you make me
So we are done with that for now. And this is what it looks like. I know it looks really messy right now, but trust me, this is going to result to a very bushy plant. So I'm going to give you guys updates on all of these in maybe 2 to 3 weeks. But if you want to get live or real-time updates, then follow me on Instagram. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to show you guys something. This is something that I'm very, very proud of. As you guys know, pothos are my favorite plants. They're the easiest plants to grow, and I don't care how many other plants I get. Pothos are my favorite plants. So I like propagating my plants. I like propagating my pothos, giving away cuttings to people who want them. So last February, I decided to prune my pothos again. So this was the method of cutting that I used, leaf by leaf. So I did that probably during the last week of February or third week of February, and then by the first week or second week of April, I finally transplanted them to soil. I transplanted a total of 8 to 10 leaves, and look at it now. I've trimmed this down already. Look at how big and how lush this is. This thing started from 8 to 10 leaves 2 months ago, and look at it now. It's so big. This is my biggest pothos yet. The other ones are really leggy and long, but they're not as lush as this. They're nowhere near. Okay, so this is something that I'm very, very proud of. I love it so much, and it has really big leaves. The mother plants don't have leaves this big, so that really makes me wonder how on earth it got this big. I really love this. This is my favorite plant because I'm really, really proud of this. As I've mentioned, I propagated this leaf by leaf, water propagation. What I did was I kept those cuttings outside where they got bright and direct sunlight. I made sure to change out the water every week, or not really. I change out the water probably 3 times a week. Every time I'd water my plants, I would change out the water of my propagation as well. So when I took them out of the water, I actually put them in an ice cream cup that's not transparent, so I had no idea what was happening inside. So after 1 month, I took them out and I was shocked to see that their roots have grown around 4 to 6 inches instead of 2 to 3 inches. So I panicked a little and transferred them to soil, prayed really hard for them to survive, and not one cutting died on me, which is a miracle because it's quite difficult to transplant cuttings from water to soil because not all of them make it. Less than 50% of them make it. So this one is a win. And that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Don't forget to give this video a like if you did and subscribe if you haven't. All of my social media handles will be listed down below, so go ahead and check that out if you want. And once again, if you want live updates on these propagations plus my other plants that I'm experimenting with, don't forget to follow me on my plant and journal Instagram at JGJournals. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in my next video.